Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast. Hey, welcome. So this is another replay episode, and I just got done listening to it, and I think it's fantastic. Good job, Jared. Yeah, I think the principles totally hold to today. If I am a new store or under 100 sales, I'm totally listening to this podcast, and I'm taking in the principles that are here. I just got done doing a workshop. You guys know this, a workshop with new shops, and I should have included this podcast in there. This is a good episode for a lot of people. So anyway, enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys next week. Hey, welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast. Always a pleasure to record these podcasts. So today we're going to be talking to those who are new to Etsy, or you're a couple months old, or you're thinking about starting an Etsy shop, but you're just not sure on the ideas or what you should be focused on, where you should be spending your time. I actually have done a few growth reports of some people like this, and so I've had time to really kind of put my thoughts together, and I thought, well, I'm going to share that in a podcast episode. So if you are, again, new, thinking about starting an Etsy shop, a couple months old, don't have a ton of sales, this is a great episode for you. If you are someone who is successful on Etsy or has been running for a long time, this is still, I would say that it's going to have some value to you, or you could just skip it if you want, but it's going to have some value to you because you are going to be able to kind of just reevaluate where your priorities are and kind of go forward from there. So I have a list of 7 things that I kind of promote to these new Etsy shop owners. Here they go. Number 1. Here is where your most time should be spent. So you are new to Etsy. All right, here we go. Or you've launched something. Where should I, and this is a big question if you think about it, where should I be putting my time? This is a very common mistake that I see. And I've actually, as I've been meeting with Etsy shop owners, kind of working on this mindset of like kind of dabbling in a lot of different things. They just kind of say like, okay, I should have an Instagram. I should have a Pinterest. I should have a Facebook page. I should be creating inventory, I should be working on my pictures, I should be writing headlines, I should be working on my SEO, and the truth is, and if you've listened to other episodes, you'll know, you're not going to grow. You're just going to be going 20% in everything, and there's no growth in that. Where true growth comes in is when we lock in and focus in on a particular problem, and we solve that problem, and we keep going until we've solved all of our problems, and then at that point, you have a product or a shop that doesn't have any problems. And then now it's just grow time. But if you have problems, you can't grow. That's the truth. Okay, here's my number 1. 70% of your time should realistically go into this. Your pictures. Your pictures are your number 1 priority, especially when you're new. You cannot grow with bad pictures. It just won't work. Your search, your SEO, your convincing customers to buy, that whole process gets damned if your pictures suck. And so if you're like, well, I have to do all this other stuff, and so I just need to get a picture up and kind of get it up there, I would highly recommend that you change the mindset to no. I am going to lock in and focus on these pictures so that they are great, because it's going to do one of 2 things. One is, if you can get people to your listing, and keep in mind, how are you getting people to your listing? It's such a visual base, right? People are going through searches, and you're being put up with your competition. So you need to be able to stand out. So if you don't have good pictures, you don't stand out. And the second kind of major thing is that those pictures are going to be an evergreen thing for you. Like when you start going into Pinterest, when you start going into Instagram, when you start growing your business, putting it on your packaging, whatever it may be, those pictures can come with you, right? That's an evergreen thing. So it's just so important. And if you're like, well, I'm not very good at pictures, or help me do my pictures, like, dude, trust me, if there's one thing you're going to hire out, that little subscription thing I talked about, don't buy it. Go put it into a photographer and have them take your pictures. You got a friend that does wedding pictures or whatever, I don't care. They have a nice camera and they know what they're doing. They're going to help your business so much. Go pay them. Hopefully they get a little friend fee for you to take your pictures. You're going to appreciate it, and it's going to honestly give you the right data, because you can always change keywords. You can always change. They're super quick. Within an hour, you can completely reamp your store. But pictures, those take longer. So invest in those. Take your time in those, and really make sure that other people are saying to you, these are great pictures. Then you're off to a great start. All right. Number 2, offer price. This is also a common problem, is that we open our Etsy shop with the idea of, I want to make money. So I'm opening an Etsy shop because I want to start making money. The truth is, when you open your Etsy shop, you are not in the business of making money. This is essentially what you're saying. Hey, Etsy, I want you to throw me a bunch of free traffic, and I will convert those people for you. How does that sound, Etsy? And Etsy's going to say, dude, I've got a front page packed full of people who are like you, who have reviews and sales and respond to conversations really well. I don't know if you guys have seen that new feature that's like called a star seller, and you can kind of get this little star badge that allows, pretty much allows you to get street cred, that you are a responsive, good seller. But it's like kind of the things that Etsy wants for you to be a star seller. It's like you have to have a minimum of X amount of sales, and you have to be responsive to conversations. You have to have good reviews, like all those things. Those only come when people buy your product, right? If people don't buy your product, you get nothing. And so if you launch your Etsy shop in the mindset of, well, I want to just have Etsy just throw me all this free traffic and I'm just going to convert them, Etsy's going to say, no, man, I've got plenty of listings I can put up here that have a track record that prove that they're going to take care of our customers. You don't have any. You got no street cred. So yeah, I might throw a little some of the peanuts to you, but I'm not going to give you the full meal. So the idea is, how do you get sales, right? And how do you get it so that Etsy's like, all right, I'll throw you up here, I'll give you a chance, is that you offer a competitive price. I actually had a growth call with someone this week, and we kind of crunched the numbers because she was in a very similar situation of like, it's been 3 months, I haven't sold a thing. And so we kind of went through our competitors and we said, like, look, essentially this is what you are. You are an Airbnb that's a condo on the beach, and there's all these condos available on the beach, and they're all look just like you, and they all are priced just like you. The only difference is they all have these great reviews and you have zero. So if they're all available, why would anyone ever take a chance with you? So price yourself. I am talking, you are either not making money or barely making money for those first initial sales coming in, because there's two things that come with that. One is sales. Oh, I guess there's three things. One is sales. Two is you're more likely to be moved up in search or be promoted to more than just the peanuts because you're price competitive. And Etsy's going to be aware that, this person's searching for something, and so we're going to present them different price options. And if you can be in that lower end bracket, then you get bumped up in your SEO. The third is that you have an opportunity to get a banging review. Because if someone pays for, goes on Etsy and they're like, oh my gosh, I see this is a $30 product or whatever, and then they see yours and it's a $8 product, they go, what? An $8 product? Now, of course, you want to put in your description that you are priced because you're new and that it's a brand opening thing, and not that you're just a cheap product. You want to avoid. That's why good pictures will be really important, because if you're really cheap with bad pictures, you might as well just go outside and dig a hole in the ground and jump into it, because that's what's gonna happen in your store. But if you have really great pictures and your tags are well and you're well written and you're talking to their emotion, all this kind of stuff, and then you say also, hey, I'm brand new, this is kind of a diamond in the rough opportunity that you can take of this lower end pricing I'm offering right now, then it's like, oh my gosh, I lucked out. I found this great product. And so they buy, and then of course from there, they're way more likely to leave a review, and that review is way more likely to be positive. And especially as you're a new seller and you're learning things, your product may not be perfect, they're going to be more, they'll work with you more because the price was so cheap, Okay, that is number 2. Number 3, consistency. So you want to make sure that you don't just have all your products and launch them all at once and then never log into Etsy again. Because keep in mind what Etsy's watching. Are they seeing if you're logging in? Of course. Are they following what you're doing? Yes. Are they watching to see if you respond to conversations? Yes. So being consistent means especially if you're like, this is great for digital products, or if you do screen printing or anything like that, where you're kind of more building inventory. That's when you really, instead of just I'm just going to launch all my products on Mondays, instead say no, I'm going to launch a product a day, especially in those beginning parts, because that's going to be sure that you're logged in, you're responding, you're making changes to your store. Etsy sees that you're an active shop owner that's constantly adding things to their content to their platform, they're going to appreciate that. But if you kind of do a set it and quit it type thing where you just kind of put it on and then just sit around and wait for your phone to ring, and then next Monday you drop a bunch of more stuff, like that's not the best way to do it. So consistency in your store is going to let Etsy know that you are there and committed, and that you're growing your Etsy shop and you're committing to their platform. All right, number 4 is to test your niche. So this is another common problem, is that we as shop owners, we say like, all right, I'm going to put my product up and I'm going to see if it sells. And then we just are adding inventory to that niche. Because if I'm not the only person out here talking about niching. That's a very popular thing in marketing. So if you're like, okay, I have my niche figured out and I'm going to go. If you just start building that niche, like just keep adding inventory to that niche and it's not getting any traction, you might just be in a dud market. So the idea is you create inventory of a specific niche, one niche. And then after you get a specific number of, if your long-term goal is to have 500 listings, then you can kind of do the math of what that would be. If your overall goal is to have 30 listings, then you could do the math to see what that's going to be. But essentially, when you kind of get some products into that listing or into that niche, you then put it into a category. So let's say you do something like, I'm going to just make something up here. You do, the soft parts on top of crutches. So like the things you put under your armpits so that they don't hurt when you're walking. Let's just say you open a shop that's like, I'm going to make these things that go over the top of crutches, and they're soft and they're colorful and they're fun and they have personality and all that kind of stuff. That's your shop, okay? Let's say that's your niche. So what it is, you go out and let's say you make 10, 15, 20 of those type of those crutches, those little pad things. Once you reach that kind of 10, 15 mark, that's when you're going to say, all right, now, because what you're going to start with is like your categories are going to be like soft and cute and fun and, type of the, I don't know what they're called, so I just keep having to call them this, but the crutch padding that's there. You're going to kind of create categories based on what type of crutch pad it is. But then when it's time to start to launch something new, so you're going to test a different niche, you're just going to put that into one category now, and that is crutch pads. I don't know the name of them, but crutch pads. And now that's one category in your store. And then you're going to open up your second one, which is going to be, a similar niche, but it's just a step back. So to think about it, who are we targeting? We're targeting people who have a bum foot, right? Someone who's broke their foot or twisted their ankle or something like that. So now it's like, what if we moved into the cast type niche? And now we're doing, things that can dye your cast or something like that. Or we put little, their crutches have things on the bottom as well. Maybe we sell those things so that they can be hot pink and all this kind of stuff. And then we move into that. And then, of course, people will ride scooters sometimes when their foot's bad. And so we'll move into kind of creating some scooter stuff. And the idea is you're just kind of creating pockets that all fall under one major niche, but you're creating little mini niches with your categories. And what that does is it allows you to test different things. So then you might have been all in and committed on the crutch pads. And yeah, you're getting some traffic and you're getting some sales or whatever, but then you move into the scooter thing and it's like, oh my gosh, this is doing so much better. And like you would have forever just been stuck at 40% of the traffic you could have been getting because you didn't test these different niches. And then, of course, this stuff isn't working. You just kind of take those off. So if that bottom part of a crutch isn't selling, you just kind of blow those out, sell them out, and then you just focus in on what is bringing you traffic. So that's why you would test different niches in that beginning spot, because a big death sentence could be, hey, I'm just going to assume people want to buy this, and this is the way they want it, and this is the way they want it to look, and hope for the best. So testing different niches allows you to kind of see, especially in that beginning part, what's working. Now, if you're an established store and you're like, wait, should I do this as well? If you've never done it before, like maybe in a really small way, like don't go crazy, but maybe. But if you are cruising and got what the idea is fix problems within what you're doing then. Because if you're getting sales, you're getting data, you're getting traffic and all this kind of stuff, then it's just like, let's focus in on the problem that's within this niche and how we can get even more sales out of that. But yeah, of course, the idea would be if you were like looking at it and like, man, this thing is smooth as butter. I am doing well. Then the idea is let's take a step back from our niche and create that as a category and then build, just like most products are going to do. Nike started with shoes and they don't just sell shoes anymore. So like that. All right, number 5. I think it's 5. Encourage conversations. This is an easy one. So the idea is when you're new, you want to receive feedback from customers. You want people to tell you what they're thinking and what their objections are. Why aren't they buying? So if you have in your descriptions, hey, reach out, I'll respond really quick. I'll respond as quick as I can, and just be dedicated to responding as quick as you can. What that does, I find that this works really well, is just that people will start to message you like, hey, do you have this in black? Or they'll just ask questions like, well, does it fit over every crutch, or does it only fit over specific crutches? And then as you start to hear those questions kind of over and over again, you're like, I guess I should put that in my listing. And it helps you write your listings better so that you're able to just like kind of smooth out the process. And it also gives you just like overall like, oh, a lot of people are asking for black, or a lot of people are asking for pink. So it's essentially like, when marketers will pay a lot of money to get those surveys from people, that's essentially what you're doing, is you're just kind of saying, hey, if you've got any question, any beef whatsoever, please reach out to me. Now, you're not going to beg like that. You're just going to say, hey, but I will quickly respond to anything of this. Please feel free to reach out. You can just, and then I like to even say, like, you can message by and kind of explain how they do it. So then they can just be like, oh, perfect. And they click and they do it, and there you go. So it's just a way of getting feedback and kind of understanding better how to write listings, and if there's any, thing you should be adding to your product to make it more successful. All right. Now I'm into the last I'm like 18 minutes into this podcast right now. Well, I'm probably going to edit it, so probably not 18 at this moment. But these ones are big ones, so I'm going to try to talk through them quickly so I don't take all your day. I know you guys are Etsy shop owners, you got lives. All right, here we go. Offer a back-end value. This is an important one. This helps the review process so much. Here's how you do it. If you are selling, for example, crutch padding to someone, you know the type of person that's buying, right? They're the person who's injured, right? They've got a foot and a bum foot. And what's happening in these scenarios is, they have a life-changing event that's taking place in their life. They're now in bed for 4 weeks or whatever it may be. So what you can do is say, once they buy, perfect, and then after you ship it, you just send them a little message that says, hey, I just let you know your item's been shipped, but I want to include something in here for you. And what this is an article that I wrote up, and it's 5 ways to be able to sleep with a bum foot. Yeah, you don't want to call it a bum foot, but you know what I mean. 5 ways, because that might be another pain that they have. Like it is when you first hurt your foot or it's cast or whatever, like sleeping is kind of a punk. And so if you can offer, hey, you're saying, hey, just let you know your item shipped, and this is completely okay within Etsy's rules and contacting buyers and all that kind of stuff, to say, hey, your item's shipped, you're good to go. But by the way, I have this thing for you, completely free, extra bonus. You didn't even know you were getting it, but it's for you, and it's going to help you sleep at night. What that does is you're giving them more than you're taking. Because when they buy from you and you sell to them, that's kind of a mutual relationship, right? I have expectations of you, you have expectations of me. But when someone goes over and beyond, that's what wins that 5-star review. So it's like, hey, I'm going to order an ice cream, and then the person puts 2 scoops on there. You go, oh my gosh, that is awesome. Or they put a cherry on top, or they put a little sauce on top or something. Sauce, sorry, that's a gross word. What is it? Syrup. That's the word I'm looking for. I live in Dominican Republic. They call everything salsa here. It's really gross that you'd have to put salsa on your ice cream. But anyway, that's that extra kick, that extra something that's like, man, I appreciate that. But it doesn't just give them that vibe of like the butterflies, the little things that make them go, oh, that's sweet. But it also opens up that conversation, right? So now you can say something like, hey, your item shipped, da-da-da-da. Also, I have this thing for you. I know it's kind of a punk to sleep when your foot hurts, so I've kind of got this thing for you. And I'm a new store, as you probably saw in my description. If you can, no pressure, but if you want to leave me a review, that would help me out so much. So enjoy your article regardless, though. Bye. And now you've increased your ability to get reviews. And keep in mind, what are you in the business of? Is it to make money in your first couple months of Etsy? No, it's to get free traffic from Etsy. That's what you're in the business of. And so what do you need to get free traffic from Etsy? You need sales, reviews, good pictures, consistency, all the things we've been talking about. So this is a way to get more reviews to your store. All right, the last point, and then this obviously could be a podcast episode in itself. We've talked a lot about it, but just make sure that you identify pain in what you're doing. So whether that's pain, there's an episode called The 3 Ps of Marketing: promotion, pain, problem awareness. Because you're new, you should be having somewhat of a promotion, right? So that P is already taken care of. So now if you can bring in those problem awareness and pain conversations into your descriptions or into the pictures to kind of show that your product is solving an issue, like very much this crutch thing I just explained is a perfect example of that. The pain obviously is your arms on fire? Then here this problem solves this, but then problem awareness could be, look, long term, what is this going to do for your arms? It's going to allow you to use your crutches more. If you were only doing 20 minutes type thing, this will extend that time, which means you can spend more time doing things, right? You could be up out of bed longer than you typically were because of these things. So do you hear the difference between that problem awareness and pain? Pain is like in this scenario, physical pain. Yeah, your arms are going to hurt. It's going to be annoying. That problem awareness is like, hey, did you know that you're going to have long-term issues? Like, or I guess a better way to say it, or you can actually enjoy your life more because this product exists in your life. And then you're saying, and you're getting it cheap because I'm a new store, and I'm going to give you some value and I'll answer your questions really quick, and I'm going to give you some value bonus after it ships. Please give me a review. And I promise you'll get those things. And then, I had this conversation with an Etsy shop owner this week where I was saying, she kind of said to me, well, how long do I do that for? How long do I kind of stay in this process? And I said, I can give you a number, rough guess of what I think, but the truth is you'll feel it in your gut. And that's true. You'll feel the momentum coming into your store. You'll be like, man, there's some, before you used to just sit there quiet all the time. And all of a sudden it's like, you're starting to see people are favoriting your items, and you're starting to see that people are opening these conversations. When you look at your stats, you're like, I'm starting to see like my listings are getting seen, and like, of course, sales are coming in, and I'm watching these reviews coming in, and it's kind of being consistent. And when you feel that in your gut, this like consistency, that's when you're going to move into the next phase of like, how do I get out of this promotional phase and start being competitive with what I'm doing? And I actually talk about that in future episodes, but we'll get into all that. So right now, if you are new, those are my 7 points. I'll actually link a blog article into this as well so that you don't have to memorize all this. All right, get out there and slay. See ya.